very, very important in human existence is economy. And as Akwa Ibom State, under the leadership of His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel, wish to mark a first year in his second term in office, there is need for us to dig deep into the economic blueprint of Akwa Ibom State. In the light of these facts, we decided to visit all the important ministries that make up the executive of this great state. First on the line is the ministry that has to do with the economic blueprint of Akwa Ibom State. We'll be able to find out exactly what that ministry has put in place for a lasting economic development in our great state. So don't go away. This is a media chart to celebrate first 1 year of Governor Udom Emmanuel as Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State in his second term. My name is Akan, aka Politics Today. I won't be walking alone. I have my colleague, Solomon, who is in charge of the ICT department, and together we shall bring to speed the developmental stride of Governor Udom Emmanuel as he marked 1 year in office. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I am an Akwa Ibomite, and I rise to the fate of greatness.
Akwa Ibom State, the pinnacle of peace, unity and prosperity, home of investors, piloted by His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel. Few years of fulfilled promises in the areas of industrialization, agriculture and food security, free and compulsory education, free healthcare delivery to the young ones and the elderly, infrastructural transformation and human capacity development, youth and sport, transport and tourism. Come and be part of the completion agenda.
I like Governor Udom Emmanuel and I love what he's doing in Akwa Ibom State.
We've never had it so good. Only God.
Welcome back. Like I said, today is a special day for the Ministry of Economic Development and the Seaport. And I'll be speaking with a very senior commissioner. When I say senior commissioner, you will agree with me that this gentleman has occupied 4 solid, very compulsory executive positions in this state. He has been the Commissioner for Finance. He has also been the Commissioner for Special Duties and Housing. He has been the Commissioner for Aviation Development in Akwa Ibom State. And today, he is the Commissioner saddled with the responsibility of economic development and Ibom Seaport. I'm talking about none other person than a very gentleman, Mr. Akan Okon. Honorable Commissioner, it's good to have you on the media chart.
Sam, it's good to be with you again.
Let me kickstart this way. Several experiences you have gathered these years. You've been a Commissioner for Finance, you've been a Commissioner for Housing, you've been a Commissioner for Special Duties, Aviation Development, and today you are saddled with the responsibility of economic development and Ibom Seaport. Tell us, what has been your line of experience, or experiences as it were?
Well, what I'd like to say is that the offices that I've occupied in the state has really exposed myself to the issue of governance. And I want to thank His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel for the opportunity to serve our people. And I want to say that we are very lucky as a state to have him at the helm of our affairs at this very challenging time in our life, in the life of the country, and all over the world, where we are having the COVID-19 pandemic. The governor has shown leadership. And I want to say that with this kind of governor that we have, in 2015 when he came in, it was a period of recession, and he was able to use his experience to navigate us through and brought us out, and we witnessed the development that we had in the state, from industrialization to agriculture and the rest of it. So I have no doubt that given what he has done so far in terms of the infrastructure that has been put in place for the management of this pandemic, that very soon that will be a thing of the past.
Okay, let's kickstart one very important aspect. You've just mentioned this period, a very trying period for the economy of Akwa Ibom State. You are in charge of economic development of this great state. Not just that, you are saddled with a responsibility to ensure that the deep Seaport, which the last time we spoke with you is almost 75%, where lies the economy of Akwa Ibom State?
Well, Sam, we are living in a very challenging time. A time that no one living on earth now has ever seen the kind of situation that we're facing now. A state like us, that is a mono economy, that is a revenue is dependent on oil. And you saw in the international market that the price of oil even went into negative. And meanwhile, the budget for this year was predicated on a benchmark price of $67 per barrel. This has really affected the expectation of government. But what I'd like to say is that given that we had a leader who has a vision, I think this is the time that we have to begin to think of the state to survive without oil revenue. And you know that the government started this a long time ago by ensuring and encouraging people to go back to agriculture. Because once you can ensure food security and food sufficiency, and in that process you'll be able to provide raw material for agro-allied industry, it will help the economy of the state. So I want to say that yes, that it's a very, very bad time. But there are certain positive things that we have to look at during this time by ensuring that a lot of, because for us to get out of this present situation, I think agriculture should be number one, it should be number two, number three, number four, because once we can get it right in that direction, it's going to help jumpstart our economy.
Okay, if it's just joined us, this is a media chart. The media chart is organized to showcase the preparedness of Akwa Ibom State to handle the present economic situation as it affects the entire world. And of course, His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, set in motion the post-COVID-19 economic recovery team, which of course Mr. Akan Okon happened to be a member of that team. We shall talk about this very important issue, how we can recover the economic loss. You listen to him, he has enumerated several factors that perhaps precipitated the last budget. And perhaps he will also tell us what the state government is doing to handle this budget effectively. When we return from the break, don't go away, we'll be right back.
Portrait of achievements by Governor Udom Emmanuel in the area of industrialization. He started with toothpick manufacturing factory, pencil factory, peacock pen factory that was abandoned for several years, and he revamped it within 100 days in office. Plywood and timber factory, block factory, metering solution factory, syringe factory, flour mill factory, fertilizer blending factory, coconut refinery, rice mill factory, plastic manufacturing factory, aviation industry, and the establishment of Ibom Air. Aqua Prime Hatchery, cassava processing factory, starch processing factory, and more are still coming. Come, live, work, and invest in Akwa Ibom. Only God, powered by the Ministry of Information, Akwa Ibom State.
Ministries and parastatals of Akwa Ibom State, and so it is geared towards showcasing the achievement of different ministries, and that will in a long run tell the Akwa Ibom people how prepared is the chief executive Yes, Honorable Commissioner, post-COVID-19 recovery plan of the state, economic recovery plan of the state. A lot of people woke up to realize that His Excellency, you guys were thinking big for the economy. And it is also important to note at this point that Akwa Ibom State was the first state to have constituted that economic team under the able leadership of Professor Akan Okon. Why the team? Where we have people who are manning the different departments in the administration of Udom Emmanuel. Why the team, sir?
Well, like I said earlier, what is happening today, the pandemic that is ravaging the world today, that is affecting us, is something that has not happened before. And you know, His Excellency the Governor has always shown leadership in any situation that comes up. And it takes only a leader that is focused, that is able to look ahead and then take certain course of action now that will assist in solving problems. So I want to thank His Excellency for putting in place this post-COVID reconstruction committee for the state. That committee, as you are aware, is headed by Professor Akan Okon, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, who has been in several organizations from the board of the Central Bank of Nigeria and West African Institute of Banking. So you have eminent people from this state who have been assigned the responsibility of helping the state come up with those things that should be done, that a roadmap that the state can proceed post-COVID so that our economy can rebound. And like I said earlier, this is a situation that our major source of revenue, which is oil, has significantly reduced as a result of the fall in the oil price. It's not going to be business as usual, so we have to devise new ways of doing things. And you know that normally when you are faced by challenges like this, sometimes it's always either the supply side or the demand side that's affected. But I want to say that this pandemic affects both the supply and the demand side at the same time. So it's a very challenging position. And before now, you know that we were dependent on importing almost everything that we consume here. But courtesy of His Excellency's Dakada philosophy, that there was a buy-in by our people to go back to farming. And the benefit, you can all attest to the fact that it has really helped the increasing the food supply that we consume locally. But I think with what has happened now, we have to take it into the next level by encouraging private individual, corporate organization to go into mega agriculture so that we do not have to depend only from all revenue for the development of our state. The agricultural sector will provide a lot of opportunities in terms of employment creation, provision of food, and like I mentioned, food sufficiency and security is a major aspect for economic development. And any government that cannot be certain of what is available in terms of food for the people is not a serious government. But the government of Akwa Ibom State under His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel has demonstrated that is a government with focus. You can see from the greenhouse that we have at the airport, tomato that either we imported from other states is now cultivated, and the yield there is very encouraging. Talk about cucumber and the rest of them. And we are lucky to have a state that 24 months, every year, it is green. So I think we have to capitalize on the opportunity that we have and ensure that we go back to agriculture, even at subsistence level, so that there should be no reason why people who are in the village should complain of shortage of food. We have farmlands that things can even grow without fertilizer. So like I said earlier, I believe agriculture should be number one, agriculture should be number two, number three, and go and so on, so that when once we can increase the area under cultivation. And like I said, government is interested in developing this sector. You are aware that a lot of financial resources and support has been given to farmers, and more, seedling, the improved yield capacity has been given to them. And I believe that if we continue in this manner, it is going to help us. And given the fact that with the COVID-19 pandemic, there is no interstate movement, there's a lot of challenge bringing goods from one state to the other. That has helped our state in terms of what His Excellency did before. You know, he set up Gari processing plant and a rice mill in the state, which has provided the food that is needed by our people during this challenging time.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, you were Commissioner in the Ministry of Special Duties and Aviation Development, and that was when the success story of Akwa Ibom State becoming the first state in Africa to own an airline, if I stand to be corrected.
You're right.
Please tell us the success story.
Well, once again, I want to thank His Excellency the Governor for that vision. The Governor believes, and it's true, that for an economy to grow, there must be ease of doing business, access to that particular economy. You know, there was a time in our state that businessmen who have business in Lagos or Abuja, or people coming from Lagos or Abuja to our state, for a one-day meeting, they will have to spend 3 nights. That will lead to increase in cost of doing business for them, and it will affect their bottom line. And His Excellency thought through and believed that it was important for us, having a very good airport, to have an airline. And that gave birth to Ibom Air, which today is the pride of the state and is one of the leading airlines in Nigeria with its youngest fleet. And I think even last week there was an addition to the fleet of the airline with the addition of a CRJ 900, and that is to be used for route expansion. The airline is currently operating Lagos to Abuja and Abuja back to Lagos, then Uyo to Lagos and Uyo to Abuja. The plan has been concluded to do Calabar too, and I believe with the arrival of this airplane that when this all COVID-19 issue is over, that they will commence the operation. But I want to say that I think the airline is a pride for every Akwa Ibom person, and anyone that have come in contact with us use that plane, they have expressed satisfaction in terms of the service delivery by the cabin crew, and even the landing, and even the state of the aircraft. So I want to thank His Excellency for this vision, because through this airline, our state has been opened up, and a lot of employment opportunities has been created for young men and women.
Okay, not much about the beautiful story and about the aviation department of this government. Let's get to something very interesting. Ibom Seaport, which I believe, I was telling somebody when coming to meet with you that how come when His Excellency wanted to put in aviation department and Ibom Akan Okon was called to responsibility, and now the issue of Ibom Seaport is coming in as something very important, because he had talked about the 3 gateways: the land, the sea, and the air. And now you are being drafted into the sea, which is very tedious, a lot of politics. Are you hoping you're going to succeed?
Well, what I want to say is that Ibom Seaport is not even an Akwa Ibom project. very Nigerian project. It's a project that will be celebrated by the entire world maritime industry. Given the extent of work that has been done and the cooperation that we have received from all the federal government agencies that are involved in port development, the Federal Ministry of Transportation, the Nigerian Ports Authority, and the ICRC, I have no doubt that this project will be a success. As I speak to you, you are aware that through a very competitive and transparent bidding process, we were able to select a preferred bidder in the name of Border Power China. And the final document in respect of this port, which is the full business case, has been submitted to the Federal Ministry of Transport for presentation to the Federal Executive Council for approval. And I know that it's just because of this issue of COVID-19, and that very soon that we will get that approval, so that the process of the construction of the port will begin in earnest.
If you're asked, is there any time estimate? Because a lot of people are like, oh, if we should have this done in Akwa Ibom State in the shortest possible time, we're definitely going to relocate to Akwa Ibom. Can you just chide us a little bit? Is there any time frame?
Well, what I'd like to tell you is that right now, because of the prevailing situation in the world, it will be difficult, but I can tell you, even as we are under this COVID-19 pandemic, we have been having virtual conferences and meetings. And I want to say that the committee, that's the technical committee for the realization of the Ibom Seaport, they are made up of very competent people who are very patriotic. This committee headed by Mrs. Ufono Soron that shown commitment in ensuring that all what is required to be done to facilitate the conclusion of this transaction is done. But like I said, we are at a stage that we need the Federal Executive Council approval. And given the fact that even Federal Executive Council is done through video conferencing and the rest of them, but the document has been put in, is in the Cabinet Office, and I'm very certain one of these days that is going to be presented. And when that is done, I think we'll now move to the next stage of the project.
A lot of politics in Nigeria, which of course bedfellows, and of course a lot of people say, come on, Akwa Ibom State is a PDP state, and federal government is APC controlled. Don't you think they may somehow deny you this lofty and creative economic agenda to, rely on something outside the oil? Don't you think perhaps the federal executive might say, Akwa Ibom is PDP, so why must we grant them this opportunity?
Well, Sam, I want to tell you that development does not know political party. The port is a project that will provide employment opportunities for Nigerians. It's going to provide revenue for Nigeria. And it's going to add to the port capacity for Nigeria. So the issue of politics, whether one party or another, doesn't come in. It is for our country, it's for the good of our country. And that's why I've told you, if it was not so, I don't think we would have gotten to the level that we are. The various federal government agencies involved in port development have given us all the needed support. So the issue of political party doesn't come into play here.
Thank you. Well, if you just join us, we're playing host to a very interesting person talking about Akan Okon. He's the Commissioner for Economic Development and Ibom Seaport. We want to leave him thinking. Don't forget that this is a media chart. to His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State and his executive. We're going to celebrate 1 year in office in his second term, and it is experience that we dig deep to see how prepared they are for the Akwa Ibom State citizens. When I come back from the break, I want to leave my guests thinking, how are we going to recover the economy after the post-COVID? And again, why is it that Akwa Ibom State was not a beneficiary of World Bank grants? We'll be right back, don't go away.
Here is a very important announcement. The Federal Ministry of Health has announced the presence of coronavirus, also known as COVID-19 in Nigeria. The coronavirus is highly contagious and has no cure. In order to protect yourself and others around you, please take note of the following precautionary measures against the virus. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Maintain 5 feet distance between yourself and anyone coughing or sneezing. Maintain a good respiratory hygiene, meaning that when coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with handkerchief or tissue or into your sleeve at bent elbow, and then dispose of the used tissue immediately. Stay at home or seek medical attention if you feel unwell with symptoms like fever, cough, or difficulty in breathing. Avoid self-medication. Clean and disinfect surfaces like tables and railings you touch frequently. Avoid close contact with people who are sick and animals. If you notice any of the symptoms earlier mentioned, please report to any nearest health facility or call 0703-5211-919 or 0811-9696-110 or 0904-5575-515. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information, Akwa Ibom State.
Welcome back. Yes, we are still speaking with Mr. Akan Okon, who is the Commissioner for Economic Development and Ibom Seaport. Akan Okon, all of you know, is a politician, is a financial expert, and of course he has experience in the banking sector for 2 decades, even more. And of course, you don't need to ask again, this gentleman is from the local government area, Akwa Ibom State. He has worked in almost every department in the banking sector, and today he's been invited with the responsibility to revamp the economic blueprint of His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel in his cabinet. And so we are talking with him. We are still on the media tracks to celebrate the first 1 year of His Excellency's second term in office. And yes, Honorable Commissioner, I wanted you to ponder over a very important issue. I didn't ask you, why is it that Akwa Ibom State did not benefit from the World Bank grant? And we've seen a whole lot of writing on the social media criticizing the government of not being transparent and so on. What exactly happened?
Well, what I'd like to say is that under the World Bank program, that state government are rewarded with grant for transparency and timely publication of their annual account and other items. That falls under what is called DLIs, that is disbursement link indicators.
Okay.
One of the requirements is that your budget, annual budget, must be passed before the end of the financial year, which is normally January, and also posted on your website in the first week of January. But as you know, in that year, because of the problems that we had, the crisis in Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, our budget, we met other conditions. All the other DLIs have been met by the state government, except the timely passage of the budget. That is what excluded us from that grant. But I'm happy to tell you that right now, for example, last season we have qualified, because when the next disbursement is going to be met, and Akwa Ibom State is one of the states that has qualified. So I think that was it. It's not that the state is not transparent. There's one thing you can be sure of this government under His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel: the issue of accountability and transparency is in the forefront. So that is the reason why we did not qualify, because of the inability of our House of Assembly as at that time to sit and pass the budget into law.
Let's come to your ministry. 1 year on May 29, 2020. What have you achieved?
Well, what I'd like to say is that the Ministry of Economic Development in the Seaport has the responsibility of advising the government on programs and activities that will lead to the improvement in the living standard and well-being of our state, by ensuring that the government embark on those programs that will lead to job creation, and not only creating this job, but ensuring that those jobs are retained. And as a ministry, I can say that under His Excellency, that we made significant achievement in terms of the milestone that we achieved in respect of the Seaport. And we know that development is based on information and data. I want to say that in the last 1 year, I want to thank His Excellency for approval that we've been able to publish the State Statistical Master Plan. We know that for you to have meaningful development, it should be based on certain accurate data. And through intervention, we've been able to attract some funding and support from the developing partners. Recently, the hospital at Itande had some medical support from the VVF hospital by UNFP, and we've also had support from UNICEF in terms of providing funding to promote a lot of children's programs in the state. But I want to say, by and large, that within the last 1 year, that we've done a lot, and it's in this process that, as a ministry, we're able to make a presentation to the ESCO on the need for the state government to begin to think of Akwa Ibom State without oil. And accordingly, we made a presentation for the state government to have a 30-year development plan, which was graciously approved by the ESCO. And for your information, we've not had any development plan since the inception of this state. So as a ministry, we are very happy to see that we could get an approval, and arrangement is being put in place now so that that plan could be put in place for our Akwa State.
Let me ask you two-in-one question. There's a new development in the state, a database for unemployed youths of Akwa Ibom State, qualified and unqualified. I mean, people watching you want to really know what that means. And then about 500 and something billion naira budget downsized to 366.
It was 597.
Yes, 597.
Reduced to 366.
Why?
You know, like I said earlier in my opening statement, that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused serious reduction in terms of the oil price at the international market. In fact, there were some days that the price was negative. And you know that government expenditure is based on revenue, expected revenue. And as a state, like I said, a mono economy where our major source of revenue is from oil proceeds. There was need, given the fact that we had planned that particular budget, we used a benchmark of $57 per barrel. When the price came down, it is natural you have to review it in view of what is the current reality. So that's the reason why that village size was reduced to the level you've seen.
Okay.
And in fact, it is one of the requirements by the World Bank too, for us to be able to meet their disbursement link indicators for every state government to, revise their budget, and that's what we did.
Okay. Then the need for database for the unemployed. What do you intend to do with it?
Before now, we have a lot of young men and women graduating from school, and over time, they have not been able to gain employment. For a government, you cannot plan if you do not know the caliber of people that are involved. So we believe that, and it's true, that information and accurate data is needed for planning. So with this database that we are going to have, we will be able to know the number of people that are unemployed and the various disciplines that they qualify, so that we can help government plan in terms of the industrialization program that is ongoing, so that where people need additional skills, that they could upgrade it, and so that they could be relevant in the emerging opportunities. For example, the deep Seaport that we've talked about, it is a major employment option for us. But you know that every industry, they have their own minimum requirements.
Yes.
So we need to have this data, and then to enable government plan.
Okay. We need to have the data to enable government plan. 18 functional industries, and the last I checked, they're working, and it seems quite a few people are not really in tune or in tandem. Some of them are not really skilled, like you put it. Is there any format put in place as we mark 1 year in His Excellency's second term, perhaps to trend the labor market? Because, for instance, you have Cerritos. Do we train people for that? You have metering solution. I know of a number of requirements that we train on that. We also have the flour mill. We have a whole lot that require technical know-how. What is the government planning? I know it's not something for a year, but since you're marketing a year, people would want to hear His Excellency, or people would want to hear this government say, this is our blueprint as we mark this 1 year in office of the second term.
You know what government is? Government has already started a lot of things in that area. You know that currently there is collaboration between the state government and the bottom in terms of providing skill to people that will want to work in the oil and gas industry. And the government is also focused now in ensuring that the technical colleges that we had in the state is put in proper shape, so that our people can be trained to have the required skills that will be relevant to the emerging industrial opportunities that is coming up in the state. And apart from that, government has sent along a lot of young men and women to various countries outside Nigeria to ensure that they are properly trained. Government also had partnered with Oracle University to train a lot of young men and women, because ITC is, we are living in a digital world that you have to be up to date in what is happening so that you can be relevant. So government is doing a lot in that direction, in ensuring that people have the relevant skills that is required by the various industries that is coming up in the state.
Okay, you've listened to him talk. You have your comments, you put it across to us. let's get to engage him. He's talking to you live and direct, so you'll be able to understand what the different department of this administration is doing. He's of the economic development and the Seaport. He had told you committedly that federal government is not going to play politics with it because the Seaport is for everyone. He has also told all of us here that His Excellency has graciously given an approval for you and I to be trained. That's an average Akwa Ibom person to be trained. And so you can have the capacity to be a partaker of the industries that is panning. Yes, as you mark one here, this should be second to the last question, because we are coming to the last question very importantly too. A lot of people are saying Akwa Ibom State is the highest oil producing states and so on and so forth. ExxonMobil is making good use of God-given potentials in terms of mineral resources. What kind of feedback do we get in terms of community service relationship, in terms of social responsibility? Is Mobile living up to expectation? Because I just saw it here on social media that the state government has rejected the refurbished buses, ambulances. I mean, why is the government rejecting a gift?
Well, what I'd like to say is that ExxonMobil had not been fair to Akwa Ibom State. And for me, they have not demonstrated that aspect of what a good corporate citizen should be. Because as a good corporate citizen, you should be able to positively affect the environment that you operate. And for Mobile to send refurbished vehicles, because just like you just said also that they gave this vehicle to assist in contact tracing, and from what I've been made to understand, the vehicles are not even fit to be able, they can't stand the rigor of moving around for contact. And I think it's very sad that, and I think it's an insult for them to do that, because what does it cost them to have get us a brand new vehicle? And I'm told the other day they gave just a few bags, maybe not up to 100 bags of rice as palliative. I think they have not treated us fairly. And I'm not surprised that any reasonable government will do what has been done, because they have not shown that they are good corporate citizens. They have not impacted positively in the environment that they operate, and that's not good.
You've worked with Governor Udom Emmanuel for years now. People are saying he's a no-nonsense person when it comes to responsibility. You're in a better position to tell the viewer the kind of person the governor is. He looks very humble and very gentle. And sometimes when you see his action, you begin to wonder, is he really gentle?
You know, what I'd like to say is that Governor Udom Emmanuel is God-fearing. And as a leader, what is leadership all about? That you have to earn the trust of people. And when you earn the trust, you'll be able to even take people to a level that even management and science says is not possible. That is what Governor Udom Emmanuel has done. When he came into office, he came in during a period of recession. And we talk about the airline. People believe it was not possible. In this state, there is nothing people do not plan. But today,
they are the one flying.
Yeah. So that has shown that he's a good leader. He's been able to earn the trust of the people, and been able to lead to a level that even management and science thought it was not possible. And as a leader, you have to show compassion. But when it comes to important decisions, you have to take that decision for the good of all. And that's what the governor has done. The fact that he's humble doesn't mean that he shouldn't take decision that is good for the generality of government.
Interesting. After this 1 year, what's your projection like in terms of the economy of the states? You are talking about economy beyond oil. You've touched agriculture, you've touched the Seaport, you've touched every other areas. What should be the expectation? As a financial expert, would you suggest that perhaps in due time, with these kind of paraphernalias in place, instrument of wealth and economy, that Akwa Ibom State will be self-sustaining?
Yeah, you know, what has happened is going to lead us to a point that we need to seriously prioritize the things that we do. It's not going to be business as usual, because from this pandemic, it is going to reduce our revenue. Meanwhile, the cost component will still, people will still have to eat, government will still continue to provide health services, government will continue to provide support for school and do all the businesses or activities that is expected of the government.
Will government continue to do this free and compulsory education?
Let me tell you, education is very, very critical to the development of any society. But the governor that I know that believes that the best thing that we can give to an individual is education. I have no doubt that we will still continue, because if we don't have a society that's educated, even governance becomes a problem. But I believe that with what is going on, knowing fully well that the revenue is going to come down, there will be need to tinker and try to reduce our overhead and only concentrate on those critical things and activities that will have immediate and direct impact in the livelihood of our people. So I believe that given the man that we have at the Home Office, that it will bring to bear his experiences in managing the resources that we have, so that we can achieve a good economy for the state.
In time like this, what should we be looking at? Look at us here in your reception. We are observing social distancing, and one of the reasons I said, okay, since I am not close to you, I do need to wear my face mask that is with me, and so I am free. So what a lot of people say, this COVID-19 is not real. It's a rich man problem. Please advise the people.
Well, I want to thank the governor, first of all, for the measures that he has put in place to contain the spread of COVID-19 in Akwa Ibom State. And as I speak, I think we have only 16 confirmed cases, in which about 12 have been discharged. I want to appeal to every Akwa Ibom person that this pandemic is real, and that we should endeavor to keep to all the measures that government has put in place to ensure that this disease is not spread all over the state. This is not a time to apportion blame. This is not a time to blameal people. It's a time for us to come together as a state and take the instructions government has put in place seriously, because that's the only way that we can ensure that this disease do not get into the state. And I believe that given the step that the government has taken, the caliber of people that we have in the committee in charge of the management of COVID-19 in the state, that they have done a good job. 16 cases, where you have other states, the numbers are in hundreds. I think it was a good time for us to go into lockdown. And now that the partial or the lockdown has been lifted, people should go out and go out in a way as instructed by the relevant authorities. We are all asked not to move out of our houses without face masks. And I believe we should all abide by this instruction and help contain the spread of the disease in our state. I believe when we do this, we will have a state that the environment is safe to do business and will continue to attract other people when we eventually open to come and do business with us.
My people, make una hear o. Coronavirus wey they call COVID-19 don't enter with your obodo Naija. Make you for stay safe so that this sickness no go come your domot. Make you wash your hand with soap and water. Or the thing wey oyibo they call alcohol-based sanitizer, and maintain at least 1.5 meter distance between you and the person wey get cough or the sneeze. If you notice say you get cough, catarrh, high fever, chest pain, or any yama disease wey not gree go on time, make you know say na the symptoms with that o. Call this number 0703 521 1919 0811 969 6110 and 0904 557 5515. And make you not do self-medicate and make you stay away from place where people plenty. Again, make you make sure say if you want cough or sneeze, cover your mouth and your nose with tissue paper. When you finish, throw away and put inside dustbin. No use dirty hand pick your nose, eyes. And remember, no use social media send wrong informate and lie we go put fear for people body. Abeg, spread the message. We go bring better solution to this matter. This message now from Akwa Ibom State Government.
I want to congratulate His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel for another 1 year, that is 1 year in his second term administration of Akwa Ibom State. Although this has been a period that calls for leadership, which His Excellency has shown in terms of the measures that he has put in place in the management of COVID-19 pandemic. I want to urge all Akwa Ibom people that we should all support this government so that at the end of the day, we can have a state that we are all proud of. We can have a state that all the children that are born and those ones that are yet to be born will be proud of. I want to urge all of you to support His Excellency, and I want to congratulate the governor once again for a job well done.
Hello, Commissioner, we're back. Yes. Okay, that's the size of the show. On behalf of everybody that this program is success, Honorable Solomon Ayo, and of course, Boki May, and most especially the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Economic Development and of the Seaport, Mr. Effiong Ekpeyon. We want to thank you sincerely. Here, Commissioner, in this administration, we are coming to you, so don't go away. Thank you and God bless. Executive Producer remains Secretary Teodoro. Bye-bye.
Portrait of achievements by Governor Udom Emmanuel in the area of industrialization. He started with toothpick manufacturing factory, pencil factory, peacock pen factory that was abandoned for several years, and he revamped it within 100 days in office. Plywood and timber factory, block factory, metering solution factory, syringe factory, flour mill factory, fertilizer blending factory, coconut refinery, rice mill factory, plastic manufacturing factory, aviation industry, and the establishment of Ibom Air. Aqua Prime Hatchery, cassava processing factory, starch processing factory, and more are still coming. Come, live, work, and invest in Akwa Ibom. Only God, powered by the Ministry of Information, Akwa Ibom State.